recording the review questions for Module 7. They can be found on page 245. Martin, please read number 1.
What was Rutherford's main contribution to the study of atomic structure?
Okay, so Rutherford's main contribution to the study of atomic structure was the Rutherford model of the atom, which you can find a picture of it on page 211. Rutherford wasn't happy with the plum pudding model, and he discovered that there were particles in the in a lot of space, so he could send stuff through it. It didn't work, so he came up with the idea of protons and electrons. What's missing from that? Do you know?
Neutrons.
Right, because he couldn't test them because they don't have an electrical charge.
Yes.
All right. So his main contribution was the Rutherford model, which is sometimes called the what model?
The planetary model.
Right. All right. What do we call, this is number 2. I'll read it. What do we call the experimental apparatus that William Crookes used in his experiments? Please stop. This is not a mirror. And what did he discover with it? So you can find information about this at the beginning of the chapter on page 202.
It's the cathode ray tube.
Right. It's also sometimes called the Crookes tube.
Or the
so the Crookes tube or the cathode ray tube is what he used in his experiments. So what happened was he discovered that there were particles in the gas that were electrically charged. It seemed to be moving from the cathode to the end of the tube. He could demonstrate this by placing an obstacle between the cathode and the wall of the tube, which would create a type of shadow at the wall of the tube. Okay, number 3.
If two electrically charged particles repel one another, what can we conclude about their charges? Well, since likes push away.
So opposites attract, likes repel. So if they repel each other,
then they're
on page 204. Then they are they repel each other. Their charges are
positive and negative.
No, you're mistaking. Look, like charges repel one another. Their charges are the same.
Oh, right.
We don't know if they're positive or negative, but we know that they're the same because they're repelling each other. So like charges repel each other. So we can conclude that they are the same charge.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do number 4, and then we'll pause and record another video afterward. Go ahead. Oh, I guess I get to read it because it's an even. If a substance has 15 positive charges and 11 negative charges, is it positively charged, negatively charged, or neutral?
Positively charged. I'm positive.
Yeah, it will have a plus charge of 4. Okay. So you don't need to know that. You just need to know that it's positively charged.